Most people are misguided by the fact that it's usually the construction of roads that is linked to civil engineering. Civil engineering is not just about roads, and in this video today, I want to talk about other aspects of civil engineering. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my channel, Diary of the Lady Engineer. I am Nuta and a civil engineer by profession. I film about general building construction, interior designing and landscaping. It's good to know we have student civil engineers watching this channel. Please continue watching so that you continue learning even before you learn these things in class. And please keep on sharing with your friends, with your families, so that they also get to know more about civil engineering, construction, landscaping, and interior designing. I'm not trying to teach people the hard stuff about engineering. I'm not trying to recruit everyone into the civil engineering field. I just want people to be knowledgeable about what a civil engineer is capable of so that they don't make mistakes when working on their construction projects, because a civil engineer is a very great personnel or very great professional in the construction industry. Civil engineering is a very broad engineering field that not only comprises road construction but many other aspects such as water and sanitation, geotechnical engineering, surveying, environmental management, structural engineering, and construction management. So basically, civil engineering is about planning, designing, constructing, and maintaining of infrastructure for development. Construction of telecommunication towers can seem as though it's a job for an electrical or electronics engineer, but it actually also involves the mind of a civil engineer, just like the construction of airports, which is not apparently for pilots, and railway lines. In my capacity as a civil engineering professional, I can safely say I have worked in the water and sanitation sector, the transportation sector, as well as the general building construction sector, and this is why I am here on this channel talking about construction, landscaping, and interior design. With both manual and computer-aided designs, I have actualized several projects in the sectors that I have just mentioned. We are so lucky in Zambia that we have not experienced a very disastrous earthquake, except for the not so fatal tremors that we experience. However, earthquake engineering is also a part of civil engineering, which usually falls under structural and geotechnical engineering. Conclusively, I would say a civil engineer is a jack of all trades that is a specialist or an expert, especially the one that just has a first degree. We usually specialize at master's level, or if you want even without a master's degree, you can choose whichever path you want to go. You can either go into transportation engineering, or you can choose the structural engineering parts, sector aspect, or you can also go into the water and sanitation. It's up to you. It's up to an individual. So like I mentioned earlier, there's so many aspects of civil engineering. At undergraduate, we take up so many courses that you can just choose one and follow it through. So I am only going to talk about the 5 measures that somebody who has done a civil engineering degree can take up. And the first one I'm going to address is the construction management specialty. I know we have architects and other key players in the construction industry that are capable of construction management, but a civil engineer is just as competent. So in the construction management specialty or specialization, we have the construction of various properties such as hotels, lodges, motels, guest houses, stadia or stadiums, I don't know which one is correct. I'm not here to teach you English. You can go and check your Oxford Dictionary. the construction of office blocks. Such things can be done even by a civil engineer. Anything that can be done by somebody in the construction industry, anything to do with construction management, a civil engineer can equally do that. Talk of interior designing, landscaping, exterior designing, cladding, making of driveways, pavements around your buildings. All those things can be done by a civil engineer just as well. Move on to the second major of civil engineering that I intend to talk about today, the transportation engineering specialty, which almost every civil engineer is linked to. Not every civil engineer is into transportation and highways. I hope somebody gets that today. I do not want to hear anybody say, "Oh, you're a civil engineer, so you're the ones that are making roads." Oh, okay. Transportation engineering involves the planning, designing, constructing, and maintaining of roads, which also includes installation of traffic signs such as warning signs, 10 left, 10 right, dead end chevrons, whatever you call them. All those that have been to driving school should know all those traffic signs. Then also the road markings, installation of other stuff like rainbow strips and humps. All those things are in the transportation engineering aspect of civil engineering. Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm trying my level best to use layman's language because I received a message some few weeks ago to say in most of my videos I use jargon or too technical words, so I've been trying to ensure that I use layman's language. Okay, so we can continue with the transportation engineering aspect. Transportation engineering or highway engineering doesn't just involve road construction, but also railway construction, airports and seaports. All those things are part of transportation. Well, everybody knows there's so many modes of transport. We use roads, we use air, we also use water as means of transport. So all those things are catered for by civil engineers. Because we use canoes, speedboats, and these small boats to transport goods and people through canals, we are mandated as civil engineers to care for these canals, these channels, because they are a very essential part of transport. Let me not forget the fact that in transportation and highway engineering is also the part where we design, plan for, construction and maintenance of drainages as well as canals. You know, canals transport water. Canals are part of most of these large water bodies like lakes and rivers. Of course, I can show you a small channel on the Lake Bengal, which I'm sure you have really seen a lot on this channel, because I was working in Chilubi some time back, and that's the best example I have to show you of a type of canal I'm talking about. So we use canals for several things like transportation of goods and people can also be used on canals. Canoes, speedboats, and these small boats can be used to transport goods and people through these canals or small channels. The other use for canals, just like drainages, is transportation of stormwater or even wastewater from, let's say, a wastewater plant, wastewater treatment plant, or even mines and factories. Most of these industries discharge water into certain water bodies. A water body is not just a river or stream or lake. It can even be an artificial channel. Anything artificial, when I say artificial, I mean something man-made. Most of the channels or canals are man-made. We also have man-made lakes. So when I say artificial, you should know it's something that is man-made. The third aspect of the third major of civil engineering I'm going to talk about is the geotechnical engineering major. Of course, we do have geotechnical engineers that pursue geotechnical engineering at undergraduate, or some do geology, I'm not really sure. But a civil engineer or somebody with a civil engineering degree from undergrad can take up this route and master in geotechnical engineering at master's level. Techniques or geotechnical engineering, where a civil engineer is concerned, is basically the assessment of the local ground where a proposed project is to be erected or constructed. The civil engineer wants to know whether this proposed building is going to stand. The civil engineer wants to know whether this ground where a proposed project is to be erected is stable and secure. So the civil engineer will advise the client, company, individual, anybody can be a client. So the civil engineer will advise that client whether the ground where this project has been proposed for erection is stable or not, and whether they have to use artificial ground or maybe just choose another suitable ground for construction. Let me explain artificial ground further. By artificial ground, we mean scraping off the existing ground, or maybe digging all of the soil that's there and bringing in new material that's actually going to make a more stable ground for construction. This is what we do. Obviously, you have noticed that when you're constructing even just a simple house, you make trenches for your foundation. And when backfilling, most of the times you don't use the soil that you dug out of the trenches, especially if it's not suitable. Okay? You import or you bring in new material, new gravel to come and fill in your box. That is what we do when we are trying to make an artificial but stable ground for construction. And oftentimes, after doing your geotechnical survey, this is when now you determine the type of foundation you are going to use. Okay, sometimes we use shallow foundations and other times we have to go deep so that we just have something stable to construct on. So you see, guys, as civil engineers, we do our best to ensure that whatever we're constructing is something that's going to stand the test of time. We do not want to kill people. You know, sometimes when these buildings collapse, it's not a lapse in engineering. Sometimes it's just an act of God. And there's nothing we can do about it. Sometimes we just experience these sinkholes. No wonder you need geotechnical engineers. They also have to take into consideration such things like landslides, possible rockfalls, so that they design something that's going to withstand all those things, so that in the end we don't lose lives. We take into consideration a lot of things. So it's really imperative that you people become so considerate of engineers, because we do our best. We don't just sit and dream about killing people, killing masses in these weak structures. So the fourth major is structural engineering. This major of civil engineering focuses on the attractive design of buildings, but also on the stability of that very attractive building. See, we are always thinking about how stable this thing is going to be because we love people. We engineers, or we civil engineers, are lovers of people. we don't dream. We never ever dream of killing anybody. We always think of that life we are going to help. No wonder it's called civil. We work for the people. We always want to ensure that the people we are working for are happy with what we are doing. We are always equal to the task. So this structural engineering aspect is where almost all civil engineering designs fall under. Remember, in transportation, we have airports, we have seaports or harbors, we also have roads and bridges. All these structures have to be designed and have to be suitable. So for somebody to design this and ensure that it is very stable, they should be able to incorporate the structural analysis, the mathematics, the physics, the forces, the loads. By forces or loads, we mean the pressure or the weight of, say, a ship with luggage in it and people in it, that's going to be exerted on that seaport or ocean port that is going to be constructed. For example, when we are constructing roads, we take into consideration the weight of the trucks or even the small vehicles that are going to be passing through that road, because we want to make sure that we don't design something that can't withstand a certain type of weight. For example, I weigh only 50 kgs. Don't argue. Definitely, it's so not possible for me to lift somebody who's 90 kgs. And this is what we mean by designing for a certain load or weight. I think earlier on I also mentioned that earthquake engineering is also a part of civil engineering. So earthquake engineering actually falls under structural engineering, but it also falls under geotechnical engineering. So as you can see, these parts of civil engineering are interrelated. Okay? You can't design a building, you can't design a hotel as a construction manager or somebody who's only specialized in construction management without the help of a structural engineer or somebody who's specialized in structures and a geotechnical engineer. You need to work as a team. This is why whenever we're working on a building, for example, the Burj Khalifa, that building in Dubai, had a team of engineers, architects, and several other key players in the construction industry, because you need expertise of all sorts for a building to stand. You can't manage to undermine anybody's work. You need an architect for you to have something that's very aesthetically appealing. Of course, civil engineers are capable of designing buildings, but they can't, or most of them won't design something that is so beautiful as compared to what an architect can produce. An architect can produce something so beautiful, but they would still need the stability of that structure, and they would definitely need to work with a structural engineer, even though they do have some knowledge of structures. So we have to work as a team. All these aspects of civil engineering are interrelated. So in water engineering, which is my last major of civil engineering I'm going to talk about, we have the construction of dams and ponds, for example, because water engineering is basically about storage of water for human consumption. It's also about purification of water and also treatment of wastewater so that it doesn't contaminate the environment or any water bodies where it's going to be discharged, because we also have to care about other organisms in the, what do you call them, in the system, in the ecosystem. We don't have to disturb the ecological system, so we have to consider all those things. Whenever we produce wastewater from industries or even from homes, we have to ensure this wastewater is treated before it can be discharged into lakes or streams or rivers, because we do not want to kill the aquatic animals that are in the water bodies. We do not want to end their lives. Remember, like I said, we love people, and it's not just people that we love as engineers or civil engineers. We love animals too. We love every living organism. We want it to survive just the way we are living, so we take into consideration all those things. To construct a dam or pond for your water, or even water tanks, you know, we don't just have plastic or PVC water tanks or metallic water tanks, but we also have water tanks that are made out of concrete. So to construct that, you definitely need the help of a structural engineer. You also need the help of a geotechnical engineer. See, we are always going back to structural engineers, geotechnical engineers. There is nothing we are going to do, there is no stable structure we are going to make without the input from these aspects of civil engineering. They are just so critical. We definitely need structures or structural engineering in our everyday living, because truth be told, even the plastic or PVC overhead water tank that you want to put up on that water tank needs structural engineering. That water tank stand needs structural engineering for it to be stable, for it to stand. Of course, I know you buy most of these tank stands from Kalingalinga or even just any market nearby where the welder does it for you without any knowledge of structures. But I'll tell you one thing, that welder knows that for him to make a water tank stand that is stable, he has to use certain types of angle bars, certain types of this and that, certain type of pose. It's because he has learned this from somewhere, okay? And this somewhere he has learned this was as a result of some structural engineering somewhere, okay? He learned this from somebody who learned from somewhere, probably in a book or from somebody who heard about structures. Okay, structures is not just in class. You can learn these things from all over the place. If you do not want to take chances, please go for somebody who has knowledge about this, because I will assure you, even that welder who seems so good from Kalingalinga one day can make a mistake because they have missed something somewhere. But for somebody who's capable of relating whatever it is that they are working on with what they have learned from somewhere, it's going to be more economical for you. You don't have to take chances. Of course, if you so wish to use your welder or you want to empower your welder, you can make sure that they work hand in hand with somebody who is knowledgeable, because definitely the civil engineer is not a welder, and he or she is not going to get the welding rods and the welding machine and start ta-ta for you. No. So you can always use somebody who's knowledgeable about these things together with that preferred welder or bricklayer of yours, so that they come up with something perfect for you and you get value for your money. I always talk about value for money. Remember, I am also a financial literacy advocate. You just have to get value for your money. You're not wasting money. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you now have a broader understanding of civil engineering, and I hope this was very informative. Please don't forget to thumbs up or like this video, or even dislike if you don't like it. Then also please don't forget to comment. I would like to hear your views. What did you know about civil engineering before this video? What new things have you learned, and what other things do you know about civil engineering? I would like to hear from you people. And what other type of content would you want to see on this channel? Probably pertaining to construction, civil engineering, interior design, and landscaping. Thank you for watching.